Greetings and welcome to Die Dragon Die presents the Master of Puppets campaign, the side campaign to the Grimstone Chronicles. I am your DM and host tonight, as I was last time. I'm joined by two-thirds of the Ontario crew, Adam and Mark. Your mics are getting warmed like barbecue sausages.
How you doing?
Not too bad. In the most PG way possible, could you tell us about this game that you discovered today?
So, I was at the gym, and I was on the treadmill, and I was tired, and I was hungry, and I was riding the YouTube algorithm.
Okay, you're in the gym, and okay, just having seen the game because you sent me a clip, and you're on the treadmill.
Yep.
Not the thing I would have on my iPad while at the gym on the treadmill.
So, I was riding the YouTube algorithm, and I've been watching a bunch of Japanese streamer stuff, and there's this game where there's it's combat sausages. It's like a sausage fighter. So you've got your sausage on a fork, and you smack it into the opponent's sausage until the sausage explodes. And then you could use your emojis to have a happy sausage or a sad sausage or a victorious sausage, in little emoticons, and then you can have like a weenie or like sausage links or like a blood sausage, and you swing them around into each other until one of the sausages acquiesces. And it makes me laugh and laugh. So I had to go away from the sausage game because I was laughing, and it was screwing up my breathing, and I wasn't doing my cardio properly because I wasn't breathing because I was giggling like a small child. So I came home and made myself a couple of burgers and a little salad. And then I watched sausages bang into each other, and I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed.
First thing when we got on tonight, he's like, I found this thing! Okay, that was the highlight of my day. Awesome. Not seeing it, just listening to Adam derive so much pleasure from it. Let's not be hasty here. All right, Mark, top that. What's going on?
Not much. Just finished a 4-day run, so I'm starting my days off now. It's always nice.
Nice. What game are you going to play in your 4 days off?
I'm going back to Pathfinder.
Are you?
I finished Ghost of Tsushima. Very fun. There's some replayability to it, but I'm going back to Pathfinder. I'm going to finish that.
Cool. How many playthroughs? How many times have you restarted the game? I know it's a thing. Like I restarted this game.
Okay,
probably...
I've restarted it 6 times.
Yep.
But I'm currently working on a good and evil campaign simultaneously.
Oh, so you're like putting hours into both.
Yes.
Are you doing the evil one after wife goes to bed? Is that what's going on?
Yes. she doesn't like to see me kill the villagers if they're infected. She's like, you can't do that.
The game says I can.
The game says it's okay.
The game begs to differ.
Yeah.
There's apparently a personality trait that kind of enforces that. In the last 3 generations of video games, I can't do the evil story. I don't derive pleasure from playing the game and getting the evil story.
So I started to in Pathfinder Kingmaker, but it ends up being, in order to run a really great kingdom,
you have to.
You can't be that bad.
Yeah.
Because
but I can't see doing chaotic evil. You have to do lawful evil if you're gonna get anywhere.
The game ends if your kingdom falls apart in chaos.
Which for the chaotic evil guys, like, yay!
Exactly. What I wish they would do, and they started doing this with a generative dungeon, but it's not long enough, is basically create a Baldur's Gate style game from the Pathfinder Kingmaker engine, and just let us go out into the wilderness and fucking kill shit, take their stuff, and come home and level up, and like add crafting to the game, and just scrap the whole kingdom building part, which was fun. But
I could do without the kingdom
I could do
building
without
myself.
that now. Yeah, I want a West Marches style tame the wilderness game.
Yeah. I found, like, I started off my good campaign. They finally did the patch where you can retrain, which was good because I started off my good campaign as chaotic good because I wanted kind of the polar opposite type thing.
Yep.
But even by the end of chapter 2, like, just because I'm making chaotic choices, it's like, yeah, the kingdom's in fucking chaos here. Like, it's just the barbarian leader is not working out right now.
Is it hard to run the kingdom when somebody's running around being a chaotic butthole?
It's when the leader's the chaotic butthole. It's a problem.
Yep. So in that game, it is hard. So you end up like losing or not doing well, which at some level, you can like sacrifice to play an evil character, but the game is not really set up to.
No, it's very much set up for at least a neutral or good bent on the game.
I find all my decisions when I do the playthrough almost like tend towards lawful, neutral, neutral good, or lawful good. Like it just kind of jams in that direction.
Yeah, those are usually your best choices for kingdom stuff.
I found that Knights of the Old Republic, the first one.
KOTOR. Oh God, I love KOTOR.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back and like the graphics are gonna be all crappy now. I've already played the game like 3 times. Like I wish I would have the first time experience again with KOTOR.
So that game, I played it without, like, I was just making decisions. Like, I was making the decision that I thought would be good. Like, I like just played through the game, making just decisions I thought would be good for me to make at the time. Not trying to.
You weren't trying to dissect each question, saying is this a lawful good or
right.
Is
And my natural tendency led me towards, like, I was the guardian or whatever, the neutral path. Right. It led me to basically I was stone cold neutral, which meant that it wasn't burn the kittens, save the kittens, and then like or walk away. Those were the three options.
I'm a dog person. Fucking kittens! Who brought kittens into Star Wars? It's dangerous out
here.
Not burn the kittens, not save the kittens. It's a forest fire. What do you want me to fucking do?
Shoot the kittens into the sun. Throw the kittens at grandma. Like, some sort of horrible. And the games that make you make horrible decisions like that, if they're blunt enough, I can do it because it's impersonal and the storytelling's bad. But the newer games have better storytelling and a lot more investment to get through it.
I found it very hard to be. Well, I don't think evil's the word, but bad when I played Red Dead Redemption 2. Because the story is not geared towards... It's geared towards, hey, guess what? Redemption.
Well,
shocking.
Redemption explicitly means you were a dick for a bit, and then you decided...
Yes.
Wait, were Bothan's kittens? Yeah, there's this guy. He's this fucking space forest fire, and he didn't save the kittens. Oh, so he's a Sith Lord? No. He didn't kill them either. Shit. That would have been a better plot in the new movies.
There are many things that... Plot was not the strong point of the new movies. Shiny explosions? They had...
Yes. They had them in spades.
Some really cool, like, there's some really cool shots and really cool imagery, some stuff that looks neat. Really cool. There were some shortcuts in, like, where they reused an action sequence twice to extend the length of the action sequence, where they did the fight sequence, and then they did the fight sequence again from a different camera angle, but they just started over. It's like, when you're watching, and if you're not paying attention, it's like, hey, look, he fought all the guys. And it's like, actually, no, he fought the same guys twice, and the laser blasts just come from different directions for some reason. It's okay. but movies are hard. Budgets are big.
Movies are hard. That's why we play this unscripted game and try to make it cinematic.
we do our darndest, and sometimes
it ends up
spooky
working
shit
out.
happens, and it's what happened.
Doesn't have to follow a plot line. All right. With that,
Crack is almost getting aced by a cyclops, for example.
yeah, there was a very mean random encounter, Mark. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I saw it. Because at that point, I'm like, okay, I can shut this off for a while because it's Twitch chews up my data like crazy.
You have a data.
So I'm like, okay, they're gonna be fighting this thing for forever. That thing's huge.
Oh man.
I believe I left at the point where Adam was like, all right, and you control Mort. He should go in front of the giant. And Ahmed's like, I see what you're doing there.
I think you had that backwards. Ahmed ran away.
Oh, that's right. It was Ahmed
ran away and said, "Okay, you move Mort. You're gonna make me put Mort into mortal danger."
That fight reminded me of when Mark made us fight the giant zombies, where it's like, as long as we're not next to them, we're good. We need to put it down before it gets next to us.
Those are fun fights.
Yep. I had your blood going. I was like, oh, okay, Cyclops, and I was like a dire tagger. I'm like, they just fought a dire tagger. And I'm like, well, I'll just double down on the Cyclops. Ooh, there's
Cyclops and a bunch of baby Cyclopses.
Yeah. Well, I rolled the baby Cyclops, and then I spent a damn point to actually make the big Cyclops. And
okay, so you turned the tiger into the big Cyclops.
Yep. Okay, last game is called Road Trip. The party rests after their foray to the Mistmere. Mort and Grackle receive their abyssal steel weapons from Slake of the Steel Rose Watch. Chaga, Grackle, and Junker visit Nighthorn in search for a job. Nighthorn obliges, sending the party to the lakeside community in search for pieces of a creature's beard. En route, the party comes across a train wreck, the messy ambush of a group of vicious and brutish one-eyed giants.
Did we ever see what they used to derail the train?
Yeah, they pushed all of the debris I described. I don't know if you were there or not when I described it. There was a bunch of gray stuff along the edges.
Okay.
They basically piled up a big mound of rocks and trees and things and put it onto the train tracks. So this thing plowed through it, and a couple of the things, of the trains fell over.
It never occurred to me that I never actually asked how they did the thing that they did.
The heaviest thing would have been the engine, and the engine was actually still on the tracks. Yep. As the party kind of shrugged and waved goodbye to the survivors who had asked explicitly for help to push like a train car kind of off to the side, party just went,
we'll follow their tracks when we on the way back and hope they died and take their guns.
Mort is laughing as he stole out of the back of the caboose a keg of
we don't use the word stole. He liberated a keg of
liberated. And the party begins to head off. Those that are in the back of the wagon do see the one engine train car basically freed itself, and it's going backwards towards perhaps some turnaround or switch, effectively going back to Foundry, heading back north. Barnabas, you did give the conductor your name, like you introduced yourself, kind of taking credit for helping these people.
Saved you. This is my name.
Yeah, and if we zoom out to a macro point, which is very much metagaming for this thing, this is not the first time that giants have seemed, how should we say it, uppity in this campaign. This may not have anything directly to do with what the players are doing, or perhaps will do in the future. Of course, such things are uncertain. But it may very well have to do with certain giant plot lines that have been going on throughout the multiverse. Just wanted to let that sink in.
Faltigar shows up, and he's on the other side.
We'll run away.
Yeah. All right. The party begins to go down the road. There were 2 days left of travel. This was about a 4.5 day trip by the Dune family carriage, by horse-drawn carriage. This encounter happened approximately halfway through. We already rolled chances for random encounters. You guys travel south, and then the road. You do see that there is a small town. It's almost like a railway stop. And you notice that there are a bunch of halflings and menfolk loading up another train, as there are many trains out there. It looks like they're picking a bunch of wrapped blocks of ice and putting them onto a train car.
Okay.
Barnabas, you know at this point, you guys have rounded around this very large lake called Founder's Lake. And one of the feeder lakes is Crystal Lake. It's a lake that is frozen for 3 for 3 seasons out of the year. The other
Okay.
Somehow, for whatever, it's probably magic. The little valley called Wintersnook is cursed or blessed with very cold weather.
Depending on your point of view.
Yep.
They're friggin' Fatagan in the middle of the lake, something Frosty Noodle Man. Oh god.
I kind of pushed off like Barnabas telling you about this place. I don't know if there are any questions that I gave them. There are halflings there. There's a village of halflings. In fact, these must be some of them. They must drag these blocks of ice, which is the main export of the town. Basically, the ice ends up being transported to Foundry and ends up in rich people's drinks.
Okay.
Or, like cooling meat or something. But they're basically packing up ice and shipping it north. It is still fall here, so winter has not set in into the greater Foundry area. You know that these halflings are not from Volcanica, at least not originally. They are the descendants of planar refugees that came to Volcanica. And I know that Barnabas is into plane hopping, so
Yes, he is.
played that he was excited to talk to the halflings.
Yes, he's very excited. We're taking an extra day just so he can interview people.
What else did you learn? You asked if
And Mark's kind of curious. Are they from perhaps a particular world that got set on fire?
The party had asked if there are any Fae there, and they said yes, there are some Fae that live in the halfling village. In particular, there's a woman by the name of Spreeta, who likes to glide really fast upon the icy lake.
Okay, now, is this by chance like the location of the Winter Court? Because we've seen the Summer Court.
Who's seen the Summer Court?
The Fae. Like, as players, we've seen...
I know, which character has seen?
No, but I'm asking... I guess Barnabas.
I
I don't know. I don't know what the knowledge is, but Barnabas is asking.
Has this party been introduced to the different seasonal courts yet?
Well, isn't the Spring Court in Foundry?
This party wasn't the group that was sent out to go to the Sunken Garden
No,
to fight the...
but
Yes. The Fall Gate is in Foundry.
the Fall Gate, yes, is in Foundry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So Barnabas is thinking about whether this has anything to do with the Fae. Like, what is your question from a non-metagame perspective, from Barnabas' perspective?
I guess my question is, tell me everything that's valuable information about Mistmere. With my knowledge, I will take 20 on this one.
Mistmere was the moorland that you had visited last adventure. Let's back up a little.
Okay, yeah.
Mark wasn't here last game.
Let's go with Matt.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up the map.
I was in and out last game, so I was getting phone calls.
Tell them you don't want any.
So you had already returned from the Mistmere back to the tower. You did your leveling up. You did your commerce. You do need to spend a couple grand for Mort and Barnabas, which you could do offline.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think Barnabas is going to spend it. Mort, I don't. Mort, yeah.
Shifting runes might have cost Mort some money. So he had a +2 rune and a +2 armor rune and a +1. Yeah, that's 1250 right there.
Okay, so he's got that. So I'll take it off of his money.
So yeah, you guys were at Foundry. The Mistmere, I don't know if we really need to put it on the map. I will put it on the map. The Mistmere Castle was up here. Used to be a strategic location, not really anymore. Little peninsula that is full of grass and like a grassy moorland close to the ocean.
Right, sorry, it's Wintersnook. I want to take that 20 on.
Wintersnook, great.
Uh,
So you guys are at this point right about here. You're kind of leaving the main road that leads south and are taking a side road. The train continues southwards. Like, it doesn't look like train tracks go to Wintersnook. But it looks like halflings come down via caravans with blocks of ice, which you assume come from Wintersnook.
Okay.
60-mile hexes?
60-mile hexes, yeah.
Big old hexes.
So I will make a knowledge Wintersnook
Yep.
check.
What's the specific question? Or is it just general knowledge?
Just general information about it. Things as a DM you think with a score of, let's see. It's 12 plus 3, 15.
I am spending a DM point.
35 with the take 20 on my untrained knowledge check.
The meta knowledge that you were looking for is in another castle. It's just I'm spending a DM point for that to not be something that was in the textbook. Page was missing if it was supposed to be in there. There's a gap in knowledge.
Okay, so the quest was to go to Wintersnook and find a piece of Hoarfrost beard, which is an unknown creature that you already rolled for. You don't know what a Hoarfrost is. You're pretty sure it's a proper name.
Okay.
You know that it dwells in a cave somewhere along Crystal Lake. Crystal Lake is the mostly frozen lake. There is a village. Now, both Crystal Lake and Wintersnook Village are in the Wintersnook Valley, which is the place where winter basically reigns. You know that cut ice and ice carvings are the main export of the village.
Okay.
They have fishing subsistence, so they provide enough food for themselves from the lake itself. And they also probably bring some tourism to the town. Apparently, the little village is nice. You've heard of nobles and merchants and people actually going to visit the winter wonderland.
With their luxury ice fishing huts.
You understand that the lake does unfreeze during summer, but this being the beginning of fall, it's probably frozen again.
Okay.
And then you know that most of the residents, not all, are descendants of some planner refugees. In fact, there are a lot of halflings around Foundry that may have come here via the gate, and these ones either came through the gate because they fled their home, or maybe came directly to Volcanica.
Do I know if the winter phenomena started before or after the halflings arrived?
That would be a knowledge history.
Okay, I will take 10, and I believe that gives me a 29.
The phenomena of the wintry stuff
Double check.
was before the halflings arrived.
Okay. Yep, 29. Okay.
The
Fair
halflings
enough.
just liked it there and made great use of it.
Okay.
You were told by Nighthorn that the current mayor, his name is Bluck, and he could be. He said that he's pliable, and that money and or food might be a way to get him to cooperate. And he also said that if you were looking for a way to, if needed, to blackmail the village, the leverage is probably, he said, look into their faith. They might not be as devout to Sylvanas as they claim.
I gotcha. Oh, praise the great tree murder.
Aside from that, you've seen pictures of, I don't know, like, you think it's going to be a cozy place.
Well, I like cozy.
Bunch of halfling kids having snowball fights with their sling, like their slings.
Yeah, in fact, there's a painting that you've seen, which is a really cozy village with slanted roofs and a bunch of halflings doing something on the ice, like a bunch of them in red and a bunch of them in blue, using some sort of like halfling sling sticks, and it looked like they were gliding on the ice. You think it's called skating?
Okay.
So those guys there, are they going to have the way of speaking? We are from the other plane.
Barnabas leans back into his seat and sort of meditates a little bit. Your new circlet has a curious property to it. I don't know if you caught this or not, Barnabas. But your int circlet gives you bonuses to geography, correct?
Yes, which is one of the reasons I wanted it, because I don't have that skill maxed out.
Part of the reason why it's probably called serene concentration is that when you enter sort of a meditative stance, or when you're quiet and close your eyes, you actually catch visions of what you suspect, as long as the circlet's not cursed, of geographic locations throughout Volcanica.
Like, I can see them?
Yeah, in your mind's eye. Like, you close your eyes and
Yeah.
it's like, I can see this huge mountain, and it must be in the jungle somewhere, and then slowly it would fade away. And then it's like, oh, there's a massive city, and it looks all exotic and not imperial. Like you get these vistas, like a Windows 10's opening image.
Well, if these vistas are accurate, I'm not getting rid of this headband. Holy. Could I use it for, say, later levels when I have something like teleport?
The party's already had the teleport conversation, and that's also when it's like, let's hope that they're real.
Yeah. It's actually, it should be called the Serene Headband of Psych.
Teleport. If you find a postcard, you teleport.
But with the knowledge that is provided by the circlet, you think these places are real.
Yeah, it ends up being cursed. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, Barnabas has been enjoying the just like...
Yeah, I would imagine he would, yeah.
Like, big snowy tundra with a bunch of beasts on it. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then it flicks to like, oh, there's an active volcano somewhere on Volcanica. Go figure.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. All right.
You don't seem to be able to control it, but it's just something that happens as the headband floods your brain full of geographic knowledge.
Okay.
It seems to be only Volcanica knowledge geography.
Yeah, that's
normally
fair.
we normally a campaign is always on the same world.
Yeah.
We're gonna say you wouldn't have to spend different knowledges, like a different skill basically for a different world if you wanted.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I don't get to go to hell and know exactly how to get through the streets
Right.
of Dis. Is
Right.
that what you're saying?
As a bard, technically, it kind
Yeah,
of
as a bard, technically.
Wow, I saw a scroll. What library do you go to?
it's easier to interpret it as not knowledge, but as like intuition.
Yeah.
They intuit their environment.
Yep.
It is, in my opinion, the most magical power in the entire game. I know that! How? Explain!
We've been with you for every moment of the game so far, especially if you don't have downtime.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, we've been adventuring for 3 months. Yeah, we're 18th level. How do you know these things? We were stupid farm kids last season.
We were the stupid farm kid who played a lute.
Right.
It wasn't a lute, it was a stick with a string on it. You just blinked it.
It's like there's just this field of 9th or 10th level bards that get strung up by their party because the party is convinced the bards are possessed.
Burn the witch!
Burn the bard!
Devils are putting things in their minds.
Right.
Got that take 20 on a knowledge check thing. Burn them.
How do you know my secrets? How do you know my religion more than I do? It's a mystery cult, you bastard. Funny.
How do you know who my mother's maiden name was? I don't even know what my mother's maiden name is.
Show me this book! Nay, show me this library! Yeah. Yeah.
It's understood. There's a limit to that. It's
We could also play knowledges as your ability to do research. It sounds good on paper, but it's something that players never do. They never do research.
Because there's never, especially if you have a bard, the mechanics you have to tweak the mechanics of the system for the research to provide a benefit. Because usually it's like you do a research and you get a +2 on the roll.
Yeah.
The bard says I take 20. That +2 doesn't do too much compared to the
Right. You have to kind of make the skill, like if I were to redesign D&D, it would be the skill from memory, the skill reveals from research, and there'd be 2 columns basically in the table with DCs, right? And if you really wanted to know the juicy stuff, you're spending the week in the library of Awesome to do the thing. And then because you have that mechanic, you could have spells that go, I cast the bard spell. Oh, that allows me to do the research in a single check as if I had consulted the library. All of a sudden you've got an answer as to why do they know this shit. I cast a spell. How do you know my middle name? I cast a spell. Damn it. Bards, and there's still a field of bards where all the parties go and string up their bards when they know too much.
When you really need to know something, you show up and just cast Talk with Dead.
It's the Bard Farm. Oh, goody, we're going to go to the Bard Farm.
Bard Farm.
Yes. Yes. Oh, the ideas. All right. Yeah, you guys take the smaller road, unless you're stopping to talk to the industrious-looking halflings that are unloading ice onto carts.
Maybe we just stop very quickly to make sure we are headed in the right direction.
Yeah. Oh, hey there, fella.
We're heading to Wintersnook. We're on the right road.
Heading to the Snook?
Brian was kind of, yeah, I suppose.
Hey, you still got away there?
How far?
As a crow flies, about 60 miles. Just keep Founder's Lock to your right. There's signs along the way.
Much obliged, thank you. Pleasant people here, don't you think?
Don't worry, the summer sludge is all packed in it by now.
Oh, well, thank you.
Summer sludge. Does he just look like a halfling?
Yeah, he's a halfling with a corncob pipe and a fuzzy hat with flaps on it. He's wearing boots.
Looks like my grandpa. Okay. Okay. Kind of expected them to... Ghost looks a little disappointed. He expected them to be blue or something, you know.
No, they look like little stout humans, right?
They're just like little.
And not in a bad gangly way. Like they have the +2 racial charisma. It's like all the
They're proportionate.
Yep.
Mhm.
Or the rosy chubby cheeks and little pot belly kind of don't make them look like bad or scary in any way.
No, it's
Not goblin proportions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. The sideways football heads or whatever.
Stewie.
So
yeah, that's the same
so
skull. Yeah.
pumpable, which is a piezo depiction of goblins.
Which I actually like, and yeah, well, it's fine.
Yeah.
We can't all have good taste. I not good taste. I just like them.
All right, you spend several days. You spend a day and a half basically rounding around Founder's Lock. It is a large landlocked lake. There are many feeder streams and brooks. All of them have nice little bridges over them. Like this place is well traversed, or at least well maintained. The bridges are a little cutesy. Like the kind of like the stone cobbled bridge that kind of arches over the bridge or over the brook, and there are little signposts, and the signposts, some of them seem to be almost like advertisements. At least in the last, say, 30 miles.
Advertisements for what?
For the winter wonderland that is Wintersnook. Only 15 miles away. And little, like, cardboard carved... wooden carved halflings looking all jolly and drinking and eating, and they seem to be on these weird shoes that have blades coming to the bottom of them. Knife feet, yeah.
They have murder shoes. Let's crackle. I don't think that's what they're for.
Ooh, it'd be rather hard to walk on if you had blades for feet.
It might be for that skating thing I've heard of.
Chaga looks at you. Chaga is, as noble as Chaga is, he is not very worldly. He knows his way around a kitchen, though.
That he does, and for that we will never chide him. You put the blades on your feet, and it allows you to slide across the ice. I imagine it takes some doing now. Certainly wouldn't be natural.
Oh, I see. So the ice is really flat, then?
Yeah, it tends to be. The waves don't tend to freeze in place.
Okay. All I know is that you can get snow cones in Wintersnook.
Yes, and I believe you said something about ice cream.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, I'm looking forward to this immensely.
We should be able to find an actual nice inn around here, or in Wintersnook. Take advantage of that.
Oh yes, Nighthorn said that there was a particular place that was the center of town. Kind of the center of all activity there. Oh, I'm sure we'll find it when we arrive.
Well, given all the signs we've seen on the road, I'm sure it'll direct us right to it.
How fucking cold is that place going to be?
It's starting to get a bit nippy. I bought mittens and long jackets. Grackle did some shopping beforehand, and in the party loot section, you do find. You will find 7 cold weather outfits.
What a champ. He's trying to make friends.
Yep.
Don't leave me.
Oh, well done. I will rely on Mild. He holds up a flask. Oh, wrong flask. This one.
All right, I'm gonna
It's an infusion.
copy.
But yeah, I suppose a warm jacket won't hurt.
I think if they're small ones, the rats are going to take them. They're going to poke holes for their tails to work. They'll make a tail flap.
It is cool. We'll say probably outside of town, around 40 degrees. Fahrenheit.
Snippy.
As you get closer to the town and the lake itself, it is cooler and cooler. Big fluffy flakes of snow begin falling as you reach a haphazardly designed village covered in snow. All the building roofs are slanted, and there are people going about their business in the village. You can see that there are a bunch of people on the lake running around with flat shovels. The lake is extremely, extremely flat. And it's also got this crystalline quality to it. And I'll give you a little look at what the lake looks like. I've got a separate token, or a separate map for that. It is glassy and almost mirror-like in its quality.
I want to go there. I'm looking forward to winter.
This is what Crystal Lake looks like.
I just want to make sure at this Crystal Lake there isn't a dude with a hockey mask that's going to kill us.
Might be.
You
looking for a
see
dude with a beard.
the 30 or 40 halflings and people that are out there shoveling the lake as it snows. You can see some of them are actually not shoveling, but they are gliding around effortlessly on the lake. They must have those sword shoes on. The lake is right along the edge, or the village is right on the edge of Crystal Lake, and Crystal Lake is quite large. The roads have been shoveled, and you can actually hear. Are people singing?
Okay.
Do these halflings have beards?
Some of them have little beards. Yeah.
Are any of their beards made of ice?
You guys go running into town. You notice that some, like, a halfling woman with her 2 small halfling children sort of look up at you, but if the halfling children waves, she pulls them off to the side as your carriage is not the most friendly looking of things.
No, we look like the vampires riding into town.
Right.
We're the goth kids.
The 2
Well, even the point.
you ride into town, and you could see there are a bunch of halflings and folks that go running out of the road. We'll just ignore the car in this. There is no.
It is a caravan.
Yeah, we'll wipe this thing out. Whoops.
There's a few of them in there.
Yeah.
Now there are snowbanks.
Big snowbanks. Oh, there's another one. Damn it.
Yeah, northwest. Anachronistic! It's not anachronistic, it's just out of place.
I think those would be anachronisms, yeah. Assuming a same level.
Assuming there's a timeline that would suggest the cars are not
Yeah.
They're just they're in the plains somewhere.
Well, this is just lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, you get to a certain point where there is a central building in the town. Has a clear sign in common, and it looks like lots of people are going in and out of this place. And it is called something really,
Henny.
yeah. It is called. Did I not create the map for it? Give me a second.
Is this in like Norway?
No, surprisingly, it's Japanese.
Hmm.
They get a lot of snow too. Probably could have identified the location based on the vehicles before they turned into whiteout.
It's called the Cozy Hearth Inn.
The Cozy Hearth Inn? That's... Nice, a cozy sounding name. Let's see if we can get some rooms.
Most of the halflings and people around here are rosy-cheeked running around. They do have like winter jackets on, but as locals probably used to the cold and have them open, mitts seem to be dangling from strings that are attached to the jackets. There are some people you can see off to the side trekking where others have not trekked on big snowshoes. You can actually see coming down the hill, as there are kind of hilly woods in the area, you could see people skiing. The halflings seem to be all about things on your feet to make you go in the snow and ice.
Do they wear shoes?
These halflings
Or are they
wear
like
shoes.
these halflings wear shoes? Okay. They're not
Except for one halfling, he's known as No Toes.
At least out in the snow, they seem to be wearing shoes.
Blackfoot.
Blackfoot, no toes.
It's a good name. I think we might want to write that one down.
No toes, Blackfoot.
Not natural for a halfling to be wearing. Just refuses.
That's awesome.
Every town needs a local, what do you call them? Town idiot or whatever they used to call it?
Village idiot.
Village idiot. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so we'll pull up to the Cozy Hearth Inn, I suppose.
Okay. Just find
Are there any fancy carriages?
You do see that there are carriages. There are also some carriages that have had their wheels converted into
Skis?
skis.
Do-
There are some weird domesticated deer with bells on them that are pulling the skied sleds.
The people who are enjoying their leisure, sliding down the hill on their funny shoes.
Some of them are also going down on what look like barrels that have been flattened and opened.
That looks like that's my jam.
Toboggans. Actually, this is not the party that went into the ant lair. It's quite pleasant as Chaga steps out onto some ice. It does look like they've thrown like sand down on parts of the road to make the icy way clearer. There is a
Ghost and Junker.
Yep.
Are keeping an eye out for wealthy out-of-towners who might be less secure with their purse strings and or personal goods.
Okay, you see what look like a well-to-do younger adult couple. They are laughing as they are having a friendly snowball fight.
Show them how it's done. No, we're just gonna.
Or turns big, just slams him with a.
Yeah,
No.
They end up kind of tackling themselves while giggling into a snowbank. A bunch of halflings come out of a nearby building if you're pulling right up to the Cozy Hearth, and hey, Hey there, friend. Would you like us to look after your horses for you? You're muted.
That would be appreciated.
Oh, thank you. Welcome to Wintersnook.
Thank you. Barnabas is just looking around. He hasn't even quite made eye contact yet.
Yeah. Are you be staying at the Cozy Earth Inn?
Oh, yes. If there's room, says. It's just the beginning of the season, I imagine.
Oh, well, you go inside, they'll take good care of you.
All right, thank you. He leaves him with a couple silver.
Oh, much obliged. Would you like us to take your packs and things in as well?
I think we've got them, thanks.
You could see some children have walked up to the horses and started to pet the horses. A couple of the children feed the horses half an apple. A bunch of halflings come out of the Cozy Earth Inn, toques and pom-poms kind of jingling around. They look rosy and happy, and the guy who just talked to you whistles, and then they come over and all happily grab onto your gear and start basically packing it into the Cozy Earth Inn. They do so by kind of hucking the gear at each other and kind of make one of those lines.
Okay.
You could see people in the streets joining. As all of your camping gear and all the things that you brought with you and like the piles of food that you had and
So Ghost and Junker are not letting halflings take their stuff. Their stuff is firmly attached to their personages.
Yep.
And they are tightening coin purses, like they're putting their coin purses into other purses and putting out the fake purse, the fake jingly coin purse that has a piece of moldy bread in it.
Sure. They're helping you unpack. It seems strange, and there are a lot of hands that touched your stuff. They seem to disperse, like as if...
All right, keep an eye on this, make sure I'm noticing.
Yep. You kind of feel like, oh no, I've got this backpack. Chaga doesn't let them carry in Los. You're kind of hugging.
They accidentally summon Los.
Yep.
He stabs a child.
But by doing so, they ended up carrying his tower shield in. Some of the junk that your carriage is full of junk. Some of it just stays in the carriage, but the halflings are unhooking your horses and bringing your carriage around the side.
All right.
You see where they park the carriage. There is an overhang where the carriage gets placed underneath, and then they unpack the horses and are basically taking them into a nearby stable.
All right. Let's try and be friendly while we're here. I would like to not only use these people for the information for our particular mission, but I have some other questions for them.
There seems to be a bunch of halflings and people inside the inn, and the place at 4 p.m. when you arrive is full of people at tables. They're singing and laughing and dancing, and people generally having a good time.
I don't know why, but I just had this picture of this party walking away from this place, and it's just like that. It's dusk, and the whole place is just in flames, and I don't know why. And I felt really bad about it.
You will later learn that not a single bit of your equipment that got moved was missing. All of it was brought successfully up to your rooms.
Okay.
You see it in a big pile, and everyone's cheering, and you notice that two people at the bar basically play some sort of version of rock, paper, scissors. The loser comes over and approaches all of you. Big, rotund, rosy-cheeked halfling who's speaking in a manner like he's been around loud talk for a few hours now, and he's talking really loud. Hello, friends! Just sort of
Yo.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Wintersnook. Are you staying here, are you? Do you have a reservation? You get some people chuckle.
There's no reservation, but we would like some rooms.
Oh, we ain't got a reservation. We've got a single room left. Don't worry, there's lots of beds. Very comfy.
Yeah, all right, we'll take it. Does he know he's yelling at me?
Hey, Martha! Get the stag's den ready! All right. All right, Garth.
Right.
Do you need help bringing up your bags?
What?
And it's like you didn't get a chance to answer. He whistles, and a bunch of people that look like they work there come up and start, bring it to the stag's den. All right, Goff.
Maybe we'll just grab a table.
There's a table being cleared off, and there are little tin cups full of steaming liquid. It might be some sort of like really warm alcohol that's being put into tin cups, and it's being thrust into each of your hands.
Oh, all right.
You look a little bit toasty there. Hello. He says when he gets around to Alistair with the mirror mask all kind of. He's like,
the polite, this doesn't shock me at all. No.
Right. Please. Sit. Surely you must have had quite a journey up here. I hope the ice and snow didn't get to you. It gets to some people. No. Compliments to your driver. I saw you come in with your wagon, your carriage.
He's quite good.
You didn't have any troubles. There were a few spots where you struggled and you had to get out and push and.
Oh, yeah, to get out and push a few spots there, yeah. Or it wasn't quite as packed as promised, or something.
If you want, one of our wheelwrights could go and apply studs to your wheels.
How much would that run?
Probably 10 Imperial gold coins.
Yeah, let's have that done then.
Excellent.
There's some trouble on the way back.
I don't know. Speaking halfling to each other, and you see one young lad goes running off. Anyway, we'll add it to your tab.
Much obliged.
No problem. Now let's get you a nice spot here. And he yells at some halflings that are sitting in front of this really big fireplace. The fireplace has got all sorts of like stacked deer antlers and maybe some of these weird caribou antlers, elk antlers on it. And he clears out some of the halfling regulars that go and sit at other tables, and they make a nice warm, cozy spot for all of you.
They've got seat heaters. They got halflings that sit in the seats for you. It's so warm when you
Nice.
sit down.
Or they're just really, really hospitable. Pretty soon.
The rats. They heard about the tab thing, and they're like, Barnabas has a tab.
Pretty soon they're bringing out loaves of fresh baked onion bread. Also sort of like a French peasant bread, if you've ever had it. Big pats of butter and either shots of this warmed whiskey or like a spicy mulled wine seem to be the things that are being served, unless you ask for something else.
It's perfect. It's on Barnabas's tab.
It's the party tab. He will be collecting at the end of this.
You get the sense that like the halflings as they come by are asking you different ones. They ask you like a mild question, like, "Oh, where'd you come from?" And then another halfling a few minutes later will be like, "Oh, what's your business here?" You're like they're kind of slowly and communally pumping you for information.
They're rolling their diplomacy check as a group. Gather info.
aid and aid and aid and aid and
Yeah,
aid
while-
until they've
while-
got a plus 60.
while others seem to keep to themselves, or perhaps are a little less interested.
Ghost and Junker are drinking the drink and eating the bread and keeping the eye out for any other tourists on vacation. Obviously, the way these people treat you, they gotta be wealthy.
Now,
This shit's gotta be expensive.
Now the
Can't be this nice for free.
the fancy carriages, did they bear any noble heraldry or?
The two noblemen that you saw outside might have been noble. Suspiciously, they didn't have any overt noble symbols to them.
Okay.
In fact, with your knowledge local, they probably rented that that carriage.
Okay.
Mayhaps for the because they didn't have any family carriages, or perhaps because they wanted to remain anonymous.
Fair enough.
You know what would help them remain anonymous? Not having their signet rings. That way they would be very anonymous.
You gonna help them with that, are you?
I'm thinking about it.
As for the nobility around here, the only one... Well, there are a few. Let's see. This guy's wearing some rings. She might have some jewelry around her neck, although the symbol is tucked underneath her leather jerkin. There's a halfling that seems to like wearing heavy armor. There's a halfling with a pipe at the side. He does catch you looking at him, and he smiles at you and sort of like wiggles his fingers. Hello. There's a halfling that doesn't seem to have an ounce of metal on him.
Dude.
All right.
I've got Bigly Little. Where's Little Bigly?
Oh, he's right here.
No, that's Bigly Little.
There's a little Bigly.
There's Little Bigly.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
These two guys look like they're fishermen of sorts. They've got a bunch of like little fishing hooks and lures along their hats. You're like, isn't the lake frozen? There is a man that is carrying what can be described as a lordly rod, although it looks like he has many greasy stains that he's adding to the front of his kind of billowy shirt and jerkin. Even though he's wearing a bib, he's adding more to it, and he is attacking a very big haunch of roast ham and what look like little cherry tomatoes on the plate.
To be clear, the halflings, just in general, are not on the menu for relieving of goods. We're looking for out-of-towners who don't speak Hin, who look confused. We're not talking people who look like regulars. No.
Those people form mobs.
Yeah, no.
Tourists, they get brushed off.
Let's see. Let's find. It's really just this couple that seem to be here, the aristocratic couple. Let me see if I can find
We'll figure out what room they're staying in, or which rooms, likely, depending on how discreet they're trying to be. Wait for them to go to a single room, and then go to the room that they're not in.
generic-looking noble man. So there's the noble woman. And there's the noble. And they seem to not be paying attention to anything aside from each other. In fact, they're feeding each other what look like grapes at this point.
Probably newlyweds.
This really beautiful dog, it's got what looks like under armor, kind of still clinging to it, just walks up to the table, sits down very politely, and its just tongue is lolling out of the side, and it's looking
I want to give him a good boy so bad. Oh, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
It appears we have a friend, says Crackle.
Oh, I've heard of these things. He's looking under its collar for like a thing of booze.
Okay, so you look under its collar, and in fact you find 3 potions under its collar. it's nuzzling your nose, and this Fae, in a blink of an eye, is across the way, and is sort of like leaning on the dog a little bit. You're pretty sure this type of Fae is called a quickling.
Okay.
Hi.
Well, hello. Is this your canine?
She's not mine. She's my friend's.
Oh, who's your friend?
Oh, my friends are over at that table over there. She starts to speak so fast that you're having a hard time understanding her.
Whoa, slow down there, lass.
That's what they all say.
You must be Spreeta by any chance?
Yep, fastest skater in the rink.
That's what I've heard.
It's a snowflake.
Tell me, you're a resident of this fine little village?
Of course I am.
Tell me, how does it stay so cold?
It's the winter chill.
The winter chill?
It's blessed here. Winter's blessing. Give me a sense motive.
Sure. $47.
She's using some very simple terms. You're pretty sure you're getting the outsider explanation.
Right.
She's petting Snowflake.
There's a good dog. Barnabas will scratch him under his chin.
It's a her, but yeah, she licks your fingers.
All right, that's enough. Hold on, go.
She's waiting for a treat.
Well, I don't carry dog treats with me.
Yeah, we got all sorts of meats and things on the table. Just give her something
Right.
to go away.
Junker, can I borrow a rat? The dog needs a treat.
Junker pulls a dead rat from the pocket. In case of emergency, use dead rat.
You just kind of toss it at the ground. Preach's face like goes from shock to scrunched up to disappointed in like really quickly. The dog sniffs at the rat, picks it up in its mouth, goes over to the door, goes outside, and you can see some snow.
How long have you been carrying a dead rat on you?
And the dog buries into the snow the dead rat, and then comes back inside and goes to sit back down again. And there is a whistle from the really heavily armored halfling, and the dog just looks over and obediently comes running back over. The heavily armored halfling kind of rustles the dog a little bit and settles her down into the spot. He looks over like he was watching the interaction, and you see he's glancing at you.
Junker, I understand you come from a different school
Junker
of
avoids
druidic
eye
magic.
contact with the warrior guy.
Yep. Spreeta sprints to the bar, picks up some drinks, and sprints back to her table. And there's about 2/3 of the drinks still in the drinks by the time she puts down the plate. She's very fast.
She's very quick, but a very shitty waitress.
I don't like this place, says Alistair. Who's like...
Very nice. I'm hoping there's a demon cult. I don't know. There's part of me that because if there's not a demon cult, it's gonna be so bad. When
I'm sorry, Alistair. We will attempt to limit your exposure to joy and happiness. We know it's a burden on you.
Oh, maybe these halflings know. And Chaga gets up. You could hear him ordering a snow cone.
Alright, get me an ice cream if they got that. I want to try one.
All right. Pretty soon, you guys are eating and drinking ice cream as well as snow cones with a bunch of like different flavored and colored syrups.
Who gets the brain freeze first?
Oh, it's Barnabas. Ah! It's like an instant hangover. It's off. Oh, it's gone. All right.
What is this syrup? It's very good. I think I've learned a new sweet. Maple syrup. Oh, I could buy it, too. It would help if I had money. Damn, rune trading is rather expensive.
I have some. I haven't bought anything, so you can borrow from me if you
I'll just
buy.
put it on your tab.
Listen, all you fucks. I am collecting after this excursion's done, and we will be splitting things. And there will be an item list of what you purchased.
You get the Nezumi no speaker to comment.
Your harsh city tongue, which ranges blue quite often, seems to rankle some of the nearby tables of halflings, and then one of them politely, just some random halfling comes up behind you and politely goes,
Can I help you?
and he points at a wall, and you see swear jar. 1 silver, and there's a big pot.
Oh, fuck off.
He looks at you, smiles, and he puts up his fingers.
How much is it in silver every time?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose I should get... Barnabas goes up, puts 20 gold pieces in.
A bunch of the
Politer!
a bunch of the halflings start laughing. You get a bunch of them coming up and clasping you on the back. They think that's pretty funny.
The fuck you gonna do, Ron?
Some of the motherly halflings are deciding that maybe it's no longer time to have the children in the bar. As day turns into early evening, you do see that most of the children are taken home, and the place definitely turns up an octave with all the chatter and clanking of plates and people having a good time. Halflings are cycling in and out. It's almost like everyone in the village comes here to eat most of the time.
I will subtract that 20 gold pieces. Yeah, I think, unless anyone else is pushing for it, I think the party is just going to enjoy ourselves for the night.
This is a party that seems to do that, right? It's like, no,
yes.
we are doing this.
We've had a long journey. Let's just enjoy the night. We'll get to it tomorrow.
Barnabas explicitly said he wants to spend time getting to know the nobles, and the rats want to figure out, or get to know the locals, and the rats want to just scope out some nobles, just hang out and watch them snog in the corner, and it'll be fine, figure out
which
room later.
They share a meal, they have a bottle of wine, and then they go up to their chambers, and there are some snickers and comments made in halfling. Like, the halflings are telling jokes, but they're being polite to the outsiders.
So Ghost is going to he just wants to figure out what room that they go to.
Okay, so Ghost has gone upstairs, and you can see each of the rooms has a name, and they're staying in the blue room. And you guys are staying in the stag's den. Eventually, another halfling approaches your table. It appears to be the mayor. My fellow friends, welcome to Wintersnook. I'm Mayor Bluck.
Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Mayor.
And he goes around like a politician and wants to shake all of your hands.
Shake his hand.
He avoids the far side of the table.
Where don't blame him. That's the gross side.
And, he just waves. He does look at each of you. And what brings you to my fair town?
Well, we've heard such wonderful things about Wintersnook.
Excellent. It appears that our promotion programs are doing well.
Yeah, you've got all the signs down the road.
You come from Foundry?
That's correct, yeah. Friend of ours suggested we visit the place.
past guest, no doubt. How long will you be staying?
Oh, a few days, I imagine. Perhaps longer. I'm curious. Does this little hamlet have a historian of some sort?
There are many stories here. Many of the families here have interesting histories.
Yeah, I heard tell that. Well, I don't want to use the term plan of refugee, but
Ancient history, he says.
That's the beauty of it, though. History. It's important, remembering where you come from. And how you come from. What was that, an Ahmed?
That's me just saying I'm stepping away for a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The thing I wanted not to happen
Happened. Mark heard a noise. Squirrel?
He's like, we try not to think too much about the past. We do have our private shrines and our family stories, but it is not the time for those tellings. We try to make the best of our situation here and look to the future
Oh, you've clearly
instead of
done
dwelling
that.
upon the sadness of the past.
Well, you've clearly done that. It's a lovely village you have here.
Thank you.
So, do you have any guides?
Yes. Our guides to bring you around. However, as of late, we've got our hands on a printing press, and he goes over and snatches out of the backpack of one of the halflings. He gives you a not to scale kind of cartoonish drawing of the village. And there's
Your Santa's village, kind of.
there's little arrows to businesses and to the lake. You apparently can rent a fishing hut. Maybe that's what all those little colorful huts are that are out onto the lake, where people aren't skating or shoveling the snow.
Barnabas might actually try that later.
You see that there are some restaurants, some bars. There are a place to rent snowshoes, toboggans, skates, skis.
Snowshoes, eh?
There is a shop that is a magic shop.
Well, I mean, while we're here, right?
I need a good name for a magic shop.
Oh. Magic shop, huh?
I'm going to open up. If you guys can't come up with it quicker than me opening up...
Winter's Magic.
Winter's Magic. The magic of winter. Appears to be like a higher end shop that might have magical items.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody in the party is not going to go have a look.
Right.
New magic!
The magic of winter is this large... are there any other large buildings? Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
There's a place called Winter Shrine.
All right.
That appears to be their like their church or holy place.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently, if you bring the flyer to some places, you get discounts.
Okay, well, we'll keep the flyer, because...
Okay. If there is anything specific that you need, come to Mayor Block. I dare any other mayor of any other town in all Volcanica, nay, the Imperium, to be as hospitable as this mayor.
Well, it's quite a boast. We might put you to that test, Mr. Mayor.
You said your name was?
Well, Barnabas Darby.
Uh,
This here's my friend Chugger.
ah, yes, this place is very delightful. We have some very lovely cuisine, Chaga. And he goes and finds a menu and shows it to Chaga.
Well, we're in for the night now.
This is an interesting... Really? You're going to mix that together? I'm going to have to try that. The mayor smiles at that. He looks at Grackle and just gives him a nod. Well, if any of you are singers, or play an instrument... These things, eves like tonight get rather, well, wily. The snows have returned, and it is always a good time. Summer. Dreadful season.
Well, I don't know how warm it gets here, but it does have its advantages. At least in Foundry. I would imagine it gets a tad muddy here, though.
Yes, summer is much like spring in other places. Happens very quick. We can't wait for it to be over.
It's hard to blame you. So I imagine you import most of your food, aside from the meats, that is.
Oh, that's rather astute of you. You wouldn't happen to be involved in any import business, would you?
Oh, myself, no. I was just well aware you can't grow crops in the snow.
What business are you involved in, Mr. Darby? You seem to
formerly...
re-sparked his interest, and he's now back to like sitting or leaning against your table and talking to you.
I'm formerly of the Arcane Academy in Foundry.
Oh, Arcane Academy. We've got a wizard here.
Not quite. Professor, though. Former.
A professor of wizardry. And you can see some, like, oohs and ahs coming from people. They immediately go back to their drinks, though.
Yeah, I've taken up bit of anthropology, you could say.
I honestly don't know what that is. But then again, I'm not a professor. You notice he is now helping himself to some of the golden-colored beer that is in a big
It's a historian of sorts. Also studies other cultures.
Well, there's not much to study here. What I would suggest is that you partake in all the wintry delights. Go skiing or skating, or toboggan down the hill, he says to Chaka.
Yeah, you probably win a race, you.
We're halflings, and he is using halfling like it is a term of pride.
Mm-hmm.
And he's using the word halfling. He's not using like the halfling word for halfling. We halflings know how to have a good time. And by having a good time with us, you are really experiencing our culture.
That's an interesting perspective.
Again, looking forward, enjoying the moment. This is the halfling way.
So, can you recommend a guide for tomorrow?
Depends where you want to go. In and around town, all you need is the map. If you're
round the lake.
Oh. You're here to explore the lake?
I'd like to get out and hike. Perhaps try some of those funny shoes.
Ah, yes. You could rent, he points at the map, you could rent some snowshoes here, and here, and here. Anywhere along the lake's edge, really. If you don't find anyone to speak to, just drop a few coins into the nearest pot.
Right.
This time of the year, the snowshoes are
tomorrow.
probably everywhere. But if you're going to go out into the lake, you probably don't want snowshoes. You want skates.
Yeah, I saw some people skating. It looks the most unnatural looking thing. How hard is it?
Well, most of us learned how to skate here before we could walk. The halflings have very big feet, you see, so really good balance, low center of mass. Perhaps before you go venturing out onto the lake, you could go into the kiddie area and try out skating for the first time. Hmm?
Well, never let it be said that Barnabas Darby does not try new things.
You'll be able to find skates for probably all of you. He glances again at Chaga. You could tell he wants to look under the table to see how big Chaga's feet are, but the skate rental place is here.
Thank you. I'll have to try skating tomorrow, gents.
And if you're going to be here tomorrow, we've got a... Now, I need a name for halfling sling lacrosse.
Halfling sling lacrosse, which, by the way, sounds like an awesome sport to watch if it's on skates.
It's on skates. It's basically halfling lacrosse.
Is it played with a ball?
Yeah, it's played with a ball and halfling sling staves.
Skip ball.
Skip
Skips
ball?
across the lake and...
Ice ball.
Ice ball, sure.
Ice ball. Iceskipball? Iceskipball.
Iceskipball. Jesus.
Nice. Oh, we're having a skip match tomorrow. Oh, sorry, Iceskipball. It's rather riveting. Oh, are you playing in the game? Oh no, I am much past my years in playing Iceskipball. I still swing sling every once in a while, but no, only the younger gentlemen play. It's Reds versus Blues tomorrow. He says it.
Oh, I don't suppose there's any friendly wagering on this.
I tell you what, we don't have a professor from the academy here every day. You could come and sit. You could come and sit with me. I've got
I'd very
room
much
for
appreciate that.
3 of you. He says. He definitely is looking at Barnabas, Chaga, and Grackle, and seems to not be interested in sitting with Junker, Morton, and Alistair.
He kind of just leans into the mat. Yeah, I get it.
There'll be places in the stands for the 3 of you. So about Foundry, do you have any business contacts? He seems to be searching for
a few.
Some use, like he's...
Yeah, he's looking for connections, yeah.
Yep. He's hobnobbing. He does wave over another round of this golden ale.
I know a few wealthy wizards who might join our stay here.
Ah, yes, wizards. Wizards have money. Wizards need all sorts of spell components. In fact, we've had a wizard or 2 coming around here. Maybe once you get your goose legs, you should be able to let us know. I've always been curious. We've had a few wizards come around here looking for like spell components or things. If you could help me understand what wizards want.
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Excellent. That is good. That is good. I will see you tomorrow at the Iceskipball Game.
I look forward to it.
Oh, I cheer for red. Don't wear anything blue tomorrow. It will be embarrassing.
Understood.
He looks at Grackle, who's got like his token is all blue. All right, Mayor Bluck returns to a table, and the other halflings obviously have questions.
Yeah, Barnabas is cordial.
Okay.
He's not as sour as he usually is. Not only because the atmosphere is a bit brighter than what he's used to, but because he wants to maintain good relations with these people.
Between the tambourine jamboree, there's a guy that breaks out a lute, and they're singing the clinking of glasses. the rest of the night is kind of a swirl. And it's the next morning when you can hear, like, the happy sounds of children playing in the snow that wake you up when you guys are in the stag's den. I'm just gonna move you guys into the kind of relative ceiling of the place. You do have a view of your carriage. It is there. All of your bags have been neatly piled on the inside of the on the inside of the door of your place. It is like a room that has a bunch of beds and little alcoves, and there are curtains that can be pulled back. There are a bunch of throw pillows and small divans that round out the room. A few small tables. There is several like tankards of squeezed juices and some sweet breads that are brought up to your room in the morning.
Okay. This is going to cost us a fortune. I got a feeling we're going to have to bill at the end and go, all right, well, we'll just get the money from our carriage.
Oh, they put ice in the juice.
What a novel idea. Cold juice.
Little rectangles of ice.
I wonder what whiskey and juice tastes like cold.
Ew. You're mixing yourself a drink in a decanter. Yeah. Grackle is meditating in the corner. These people are decadent.
This is not decadent. This is fucking cheerful. Now, you want to talk decadent? I have seen decadent.
Can we kill him?
All right. And Barnabas leans down on one knee so he can look Alistair in the eyes. I know that the very kind and happy nature of these people makes you want to stab them in the face. I am asking you, begging you, not to indulge those instincts. We need them for now.
I'm going to stay up here. Oh, I might carve the next one who looks at me eyes out.
Yeah, all right, that's a good idea. You stay here.
Alistair ends up making this really dark pillow fort in his little alcoved bed that he goes and hides in.
As they're walking out the door, Barnabas kind of whispers to Chagga or to Grackle, how to see what he'd do with a murder skate anyway, murder shoe anyway. All right. I suggest we actually try this skating thing. See how it works. It looks very quick, certainly faster than walking on ice. How hard can it be? After breakfast.
Yeah, you guys go down to the skate stop. And I'm gonna move your tokens over to Crystal Lake.
Okay.
You can see a bunch of halflings out onto this portion of the lake. There are, off to the sides, you can see all these colorful huts. Like, really highly painted and nice huts that have little tent-like openings in front of them, and halflings standing around and laughing and cheering. And it looks like these are the fishing huts. There are a bunch of halfling children and people skating around really quick. You could see that Spreeta is out there. She seems to be really far in the lake, and she's just zooming like across the lake, back and forth, doing kind of like wind sprints on the lake. It's actually quite graceful. Some people are just sitting there in their effectively wooden lawn chairs watching Spreeta.
Would you look at this? This is fucking brilliant. It's an excuse to get drunk outside without saying explicitly, I'm going drinking.
Oh yes, it's quite nice, isn't it? I hope that some of the people we know never find this place.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm actually feeling guilty bringing Alistair here.
Yeah, order to see what he'd do if left unchecked.
Spreeta's out there, just sort of zooming back and forth. There's a bunch of children and halflings skating around. You guys are all fitted with skates. And give me an acrobatics check.
Oh, God.
Chaga today is not wearing his armor unless we are expecting trouble.
No.
I think the
Mort.
night of drinking and feasting and eating and laughing has disarmed you somewhat.
20 and 32 from the rats.
The rats get the hang of it. So icy conditions require you to make acrobatics check. They also increase the DC of all acrobatics checks by 5. And this basically means that it's not difficult terrain.
Cool.
In this afternoon of practicing, both... who got the 20?
20 was Ghost.
Ghost knows how to skate forward and stop. Junker knows how to skate forward, stop, and skate backwards.
Okay. Let's see how Mort does. All right.
The lake is immensely flat. It's like sheltered from the surrounding hills, and it's pristine.
So, as a Canadian boy who grew up where natural ice was really common, is this like unnaturally flat?
Well, it's unnaturally cold for the season. Early in the morning, there was a lot of mist coming out of it because there's still a sun here. But it must be sheltered because there were no waves. Like there's like barely.
Usually, there's like a ripple in the ice. Yeah.
Yep. You do find funny bubbles under the water. If you want to know what they look like, just Google methane bubbles in ice. They're really pretty. Whose roll was the 17?
17 is Mort.
Okay, Mort can skate forward. He hasn't figured out stopping yet, though.
Okay, and the 15 was Barnabas.
15, you also know how to skate forward. But stopping for you guys is falling down.
This is unacceptable.
We're fighting something on ice at some point, Mark.
Chaga moves at half speed and can't stop.
Grackle can stop.
Grackle can skate forward and stop.
Okay.
Chaga's bumbling, basically.
In Nezumi, it's not that fucking hard.
Is that fucking hard?
Oh, look out! Chaga ends up crashing into like a barrier that separated the children's skating area from where you guys were. A bunch of children end up just
fleeing,
and then they start to laugh and point at Chaga, who fell over the barrier. Hey,
it is really good we didn't bring Alistair out skating, because he would have rolled a 1, he would have fell down, the kids would have laughed at him, and he would have started cursing, just not swearing, cursing
the children, yes.
Okay. Do you want to fill Ahmed in a moment?
I've been listening. It's good.
Oh, you've been listening? Okay.
Yep. I'm going to roll my acrobatics check.
Already rolled.
Oh, you already rolled.
You can move forward and you can stop.
Yeah. That's all I need. Can I turn around?
Well, yeah, on your next turn.
Nice.
We're going to say moving forward means you need to move in a straight line for a single move.
I'm a very simple child's toy remote control car.
Yep. Mort and Barnabas are just going to move forward until they bump into things.
Well, we're gonna skate behind people who can stop,
and then Chaga's
bump into them.
Like difficult terrain.
Chaga would be faster without the skates.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so you guys spend the morning of your first day at Wintersnook, or the Nook, as they say it really quick. It sounds like Snook. Skating. It's pleasant, it's cold, and pretty soon you guys are retreating quickly to the Cozy Hearth Inn, where you have this time a butter-padded rye bread and a thick, hearty pea soup with little oregano-dusted chicken wings on the side, baked, not fried.
Junker says
And you're getting
something
hungry.
in common.
Yep.
And it's the whole hungry thing. I got myself a box of seaweed snacks and a protein shake while I was making my wife breakfast.
Why do you hate yourself?
These
I'm gonna
things are good. I would
I'm gonna
eat
call
them.
pounds from D&D Gaming D&D 20, because that's what it's costing me. 20 pounds. Thanks, Marty.
COVID and being a dad has nothing to do with it, right? The number of hours you spend in front of a video game,
not going to the
coincidental.
gym.
not going to the gym,
and-
not leaving your house, working from home, like that has
You guys
nothing
are
to do with
mean.
it. Yeah,
It's not my fault.
The fact that
If you-
yesterday I saw you eating not one but two different pizzas, or Saturday 2 different pizzas and onion rings.
If you
right.
can tell me that those with a straight face, those things have nothing to do with it, I will accept your.
This is
I'll accept the
nothing
blame.
to do with it. I love myself.
Couldn't even do that.
So the Junker, the Nezumi, in common, will say on his tab to the halflings as food is being brought and motion to.
Yeah, they seem to stop asking which tab it's under after the night of drinking and feasting.
Yeah. You know I speak that language too, right?
He responds, I don't understand, in the opposite language of whatever language he chose to speak in.
Okay, you guys have a pleasant lunch back at the Cozy Hearth Inn. You have skates, which you've rented, which somehow the businesses are all connected because you rented skates and you said, I've got a tab at the Cozy Hearth Inn, and they seem to just think it's okay.
It's a halfling commune.
You're still not clear who owns the Cozy Hearth Inn. No one's introduced themselves as the proprietor.
It's the mayor, I know it. We'll find out.
They did play paper, rock, scissors to see who goes over and talks to you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, some of the folks that were at the Cozy Hearth Inn aren't there. Like at noon when you guys, like Spreeta's out skating still. This guy's not there.
How
Let's see.
fast does she skate?
She skates at.
I imagine ridiculously fast.
Let's see. I need to look in a different campaign folder for what we did with.
Some blue.
Yeah.
Dark.
Well, isn't she a halfling as well?
No, she's a quick.
Quickling.
Oh, she's equivalent. Because I was about to tell you, short people don't run that fast. I know from experience.
You weren't in the 100-meter dash in high school?
2 minutes later. Bullshit.
She moves at. $50 base, and then I need to look up a class
Wow.
ability.
Skating quickling. Holy crap.
So I'm wondering if, with her level of mastery, did she get an increased move speed? Is kind of the.
Yeah, because
Can you get faster than?
can you get faster on ice? Yep. She is moving at around 70.
Yikes.
That's pretty zippy.
Right.
Yep. and she's running, so that would be 70 times 5
'Cause she's got the run feet.
run feet.
Ooh,
She's able to run
crap.
on the ice.
So, if any of the nobles that we're scoping out end up making friends with her, they get deprioritized on the list.
Because she can chase you
Because she can
down.
outrun this. Can't run away.
Okay, the nobles don't seem to like make friends with the quickling woman. They seem to be involved in their own thing.
Are they out in the...
Yeah, the noble woman drags the noble man out shopping.
Whoops.
Well, if
Ghost
There's-
overheard them that she says there's some nice crystalline things at the Magic of Winter that she wants.
there's an opportunity for housekeeping to just check out to see what the state of the
Sure.
universe is like.
Give me a stealth check and a disabled device check.
Sorry, who is this?
This is Ghost.
Okay.
This is during lunch that you decide.
We're on the
Yep.
Crystal Lake, right?
We're back on the Wintersnook village.
Oh, okay.
27 is the stealth.
Okay.
29 is the disabled device.
Oh, there we go. Sorry.
So you are able to get into the room without what you think anyone's seeing. And there is a locked trunk, which is the first locked thing that you find in this entire inn. There are latches for the doors, which are easy just to, like, take 10 kind of disable
Yep.
device. Like, can I get something in there to flip the latch? Which they didn't even latch up. You avoid some of the cleaning people that come in to change blankets and take away plates. And manage to get into a locked chest. Let's see what you find inside. Pickpocket loot. Okay, cool.
It is a severed human head. Congratulations, you found the
Yes.
killers.
We're talking.
You find a bag of, how should we say this, feminine lacy garments. We'll say that they're worth, it's lace, so 20 gold pieces.
Okay.
You find a music box. There are some pieces of jewelry in a music box, which looks like a broken string of pearls. There are 12 pearls inside the music box. It looks like the pearl necklace needs to be repaired.
Okay. Is that that's the...
No, at the bottom of the box, there are some, like, woolen clothes, and then there's a suspicious-looking, well-oiled, well-traveled backpack. Like a leather backpack. That looks like it's seen some activity.
Take a look
It was like
inside.
really at the bottom. You have to take out all the things. You take out this
Is it-
backpack, and there's a clink in the backpack. Like they're heavy and metal.
Okay, we'll check it for traps.
Yeah, you're like,
Well, it's got a trap spotter, so...
you
I-
don't sense any traps, but it does look like whoever had this was hiding the backpack, and then the contents of the backpack are wrapped up in oiled leather.
Mhm.
The types of things you would wrap something metallic up in.
And it looks like it would have been below the... I have a feeling this wasn't from the couple. This was like in the chest previously from somebody else. Or...
There was a wool blanket on top of it. You don't know if the couple brought it here or if somebody forgot it underneath a wool blanket, but
Okay, we're taking 2 pearls of the 12.
okay, 100 gold pieces each. 2 pearls.
Okay. So Junker or Ghost is taking 2 pearls. How many garments are there?
We'll say there are 3 sets of lacy garments.
All right. 2 pearls, 100 gold pieces each, and we're gonna take 1 piece of like 1 lacy garment part. So
Okay.
it's like not the whole lacy garment,
Red,
but
white,
1.
or black.
We're gonna go with black. It's easy to keep clean.
You've got a red tops or bottoms.
I think we're gonna go for bottoms.
Okay,
So we got 1 black lacy bottom.
got it. That is worth 5.
It's when the other part was when the rest of the party finds that and Yergir goes, "What?"
That's fine.
And we're gonna end that bag, and we're gonna try and put everything back as well. And we're taking sorry, those are going on to Ghost sheet, and then in the party treasure sheet, I'm putting the this bag.
Okay.
Worn clue bag, and the idea would be to put everything back, lock up the chest, sneak back to our main room, and then I think we're even going to do it invisibly.
Sure.
He has to spend a spell recall. Does he have the thing where he preps his spells, or did he lose that? He lost that. Never mind. He's just going to sneak back to the party chambers and
Okay. Because he's sneaking like down the hall, actually cleaning your room. You can see the halflings giggling about something as they're cleaning some of the sheets. They are looking back into the room. They might have maybe found Alistair's behavior funny. Stop laughing at me! Slam! The door slams, which provides some distraction, and use the cart as a way to sneak, not back to your room because Alistair's in there and the cleaners are there, but you sneak into a privy.
Okay.
It's like these halflings seem to value privacy when you're going for a poop. You've never like, maybe a noble home would have this. It's this place full of potpourri. It has a nice like basin area. It's got this really big really
have
big
the shitting
chamber
timber where there's the timber and you shit over the timber.
No, it's like a big chamber pot hanging over a timber into a trough that has water tinkling down the trough to immediately wash away your ick. There are a variety of sponges and barks that you can use to scrape away the waste. There is a little table off to the side where there's a bunch of the spritzy perfume bottles.
Yep.
This place is costing us a fortune.
It's even wallpapered in here, and you can see that there are some really old news leafs from Foundry.
So I know Capra's the one who has the demon chili pepper, like the physically causes hit points of damage chili pepper. I want that so bad to just rub on random pieces of bark.
So Ghost is in here. Yeah. There's a little latch. He's like,
yeah, we're gonna latch it.
And you're pretty sure it says occupied on the outside.
Okay, we're
going to for you, Adam.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we're going to search this bag, see what we find inside.
Okay, there are some curious tools that look like weapon maker's tools. Those are not wrapped up, like it just looks like somebody tossed like weapon maker's tools into the bag. But there is a wrapped up thing inside the center of the bag.
Okay, that kid. Or the noble guy. He seemed like a yob to me, not like a guy who works with his hands.
Yeah, he did not have excess muscle on his frame.
Okay. All right. We're gonna detect magic.
Okay. Whatever is wrapped up in the bundle that looks like it's awkwardly shaped is radiating some magic. Faint. It's like maybe a magic weapon in there.
Okay, we'll take a look.
Okay, you unwrap the oiled rag, and there is just the pommel of a sword. It is completely missing its blade, and there is like a hole cut out of the center of it, like it's like purposefully like a hole, maybe about this a little bit smaller than a diameter of an egg, and you can see through it.
Like a pin?
Like it's missing its the gem in the hilt. Like there could be a gem or something that goes in there. Like you could stick your finger easily around it. The sword handle, unfortunately, is medium sized, and you're guessing. It's weird. It's light because of the lack of blade. But even in your hand, something like this is too light. It's like it's perfectly balanced. There's enough room. You're kind of counting your hands, probably for a hand and a half. You're thinking this might be the
Bastard sword hilt?
bastard sword hilt. You're seeing a curious blend of magic that might be the remnants of whatever this magic sword was.
Interesting.
The rag turns out to not be a rag. It is an oiled piece of leather, but it has a trace of the sword.
Cool.
And the trace is of the hilt and the pommel of the sword. But it's also of the beginning of the blade. And
Okay.
The thing at the center of the center of the circle is like a stylized little zephyr of air.
Okay.
Like someone drew a little tiny tornado inside of the circle.
Missing blade and gem. Bastard sword sketch with Zephyr symbol. We'll pack it away, and I think the bag is just left to like put in the bin, waste bin,
Okay.
and
yeah. There's a wastebasket nearby. You're just taking the whole bag and putting it inside the wastebasket.
Well, I guess. You know what? What we're gonna do is just in case, we're going to try to sneak back in the room, put the bag back in the bin,
Yep.
and
Keep the hilt of the sword and the rag that it was wrapped up in.
keep the hilt, keep the rag, and then we don't need the crafting tools. It'll just be a bag with tools in it.
Okay.
In a bin.
You're able to do that. Let's see. If I roll a 3, somebody enters the room while you're there. Okay, give me a stealth check. I'm going to roll 2 perception checks. They are distracted.
39, natural 20.
Okay, Junker dives underneath the bed as the couple returns from their shopping trip. And for a while, you guys don't know where Ghost is.
He can't leave for hours.
Ghost now understands the term "like rabbits."
It's a good thing Junker wasn't here. They'd smell something.
Yeah, Chaga is napping beside the fire. He's just got like syrup, syrup all over a bib.